What is up, my brothers and sisters? Back with another video of a film that I absolutely love. One of my favorite horror movies of all time. I just watched it again last night. And that's just the thing I love about this YouTube channel, is that I get to talk about what I really love. And one of my biggest interests is film. I absolutely love film and artistic films and films that are about subjects that I'm interested in. Now, I'm a big fan of horror, and I'm a big fan of Jesus. I am a Christian, and I am Scottish. I'm like 70% Scottish. I've been a Christian my whole life, so I have my Celtic cross on. Christianity and my Scottish identity are things that are very important to me. And I also love horror films. And a lot of people think that there's a contradiction there, and maybe, at some points there probably is, because a lot of modern horror films especially glorify evilness, and I'm not a huge fan of that. I think I'm not scared of evil, so I'm not scared of that in film. But this is why this movie is so important to me. 1974 film, The Wicker Man. Now, this movie is a masterpiece. Brilliant cinematography, great editing, great cinematography, great pacing. This movie is not, the first time I watched it, I thought it was a little bit slow, but it's not. I watched it last night after probably 6 months or 8 months of me watching it, and it's absolutely a brilliant masterpiece. I mean, the color tones are great. It's very, earth toned, very, very earth vibes, and that's for a reason. That's because this film is about the fight about the fight of pagan and Christian beliefs, Celtic Christianity versus traditional Scottish Celtic folk paganism. And that debate was basically settled over 1,000 years ago. It was like 2,000 years ago, or close to 2,000 years ago, when Scotland became Christian. It was one of the first European countries to really embrace Christianity. The strength of Scottish and Irish Christianity cannot be understated. A good reason why England was such a great Christian power was because of Scotland and Ireland. And they even adopted the Celtic cross because of the cultural significance and the strength of the Celtic cross. But so basically the film follows a Scottish police officer, who is investigating a disappearance of a little girl from this Scottish Isle. This private Scottish island. And there's hundreds of islands in Scotland, and a lot of them have very small populations. This is one of them. This is a very close-knit community. So the movie opens up in a brilliant way. So the police officer, who is an absolutely virtuous character. Now, he is extreme. He's very Christian. He's very into his values. He's very into his country, for God and country. But that's back when, Scotland and Europe in general, promoted Christianity, when it was the religion of the state. So he really was for God, country, and family, in that way, in that very traditional Scottish way. He is at I believe it's Presbyterian, because that's the largest denomination of Scotland. He's in this very traditional Protestant, beautiful church in Scotland, where he lives, and he is partaking in the Eucharist. He is receiving the Eucharist, and it starts out with him reading the Lord's Prayer and praying for the congregation. He's a very well-respected person. He's pretty high up the ladder of investigative police officers, and so it starts out with showing that he is true with his Christian faith, and he is respected within the Christian community. I mean, he is receiving the Eucharist like all Christians should. I mean, the Eucharist is a beautiful thing, and basically this is what this film's about. It's setting it up. So he goes to this island, and everyone is pretty polite, but he starts to find that everyone is extremely pagan, extremely. He's asking about this girl, and everyone's avoiding him. They're telling him they don't know who the girl is. Rowan Morrison. They don't know who it is, which turns out to be they're lying. But as he's going around, he's seeing these different, strange, old, ancient custom pagan rituals. And one thing I will say is, although I am Christian and absolutely, I support Christianity 100%, one thing of interest, one of my interests is looking into, some of the Scottish folklore and some of the Scottish myths. And sometimes that does, coincide with, learning about their pagan practices. I don't support that, but it is an interesting thing, and seeing it up close, these people are passionate about it. It is interesting. It's like these people actually do, in a meaningful way, actually support the paganism, and they truly believe in it. And he is absolutely rightfully disgusted about it, because he's in a Christian society, and he's coming here into 20th century Scotland, and he's seeing these ancient pagan practices. I mean, people are doing these sexual rituals all over the place there, and they promote sexual organs as being holy, and women are dancing naked around fire doing chants about fertility. It's just an interest. It's just a strange and evil. I would say evil because I'm a Christian, but it's just a strange thing to see. And that's really what this film is about. It's about the clash. So he's, at one point, in one lane, he is trying to find this missing girl. And in another one, he's absolutely appalled by, from his traditional values, he's seeing all these pagan practices, these very explicit ones. And these aren't, I believe in a different God. That's not what this, specifically what it is. I mean, these people are teaching their children in school about these sexual things, and that is the most important thing, and we all need to think about that. And it's not moral. I mean, you can't teach kids something like that, and he's witnessing this, so it's going hand in hand with that. And so basically, as the film progresses, it gets more and more intense. They're covering up what he believes is the murder, and it really is looking like that. They're leading him on, and there's going to be spoilers in this review, so if you don't want spoilers, that's fine. I would recommend watching the film. Watch The Wicker Man. But basically, as the police officer is investigating, it is looking like it's going to be a murder case, because everyone's hiding it up. I mean, first they say she doesn't exist, and then they find out that he finds out that she does exist. There's records of her, and then there's a grave for her, and then he opens it up, and it's a hare, and that means a rabbit, and that's like a pagan thing as well. So it's looking like either they did use her as a sacrifice for a pagan belief, or she's going to be. So that's what he's very suspicious of. And one thing I really love about the main character, I already talked about his convictions and his values, and that it's extreme. It's two extremes. It's the very extreme, strict Christian mindset of Celtic Christianity, and then there's the other extreme mindset of and the practices of the paganism, and they are trying to at one point cast a spell on him. I mean, they're playing this music and for this sexual ritual. They're trying to cast a spell on him so that he will fornicate with the landlord's daughter. So they're really weird. So there's this hotel, and the landlord of the hotel has this daughter that basically just this is going to get a little explicit, but basically she just takes people's virginity, all the 14, 15-year-old boys' virginity. It's like a ritual. I mean, these people are very ritualistic, and she basically just sleeps around with everybody, and they're trying to play this like thumping music, and she's dancing around and beating on the walls trying to get him, and it's starting to work. I mean, they're starting to like cast the spell on him, but then his values and his faith kicks in and he's able to reject that. And you know, it is an extreme thing. She's very attractive, and they're trying to cast this spell of seduction over him. So that's the point that I really respect the character, because it really shows he's not just saying these things because he's extremely hateful and closed-minded. He actually believes this in his own life. And so I think it's a beautiful film. I mean, even like I said, even though I am a Christian, you know, these obviously not the ritual aspects, but the folk beliefs are interesting. They are interesting. So it is interesting to see, you know, in the 20th century how that society can work. But this is a horror movie for a reason. It's not just about a bunch of crazy pagan people. Basically, they have this Wicker Man ceremony right here, festival, and that's the biggest of the year. I think they do it like every few years, every 10 years or whatever it is. I forget. I know I should know that. I'm doing a review, but it's a once in a while thing, and it's a really big deal because their crops failed, and for them that's a sign that they need to do a sacrifice, which I don't agree with, but you know, it's what they believe. So the police officer believes that they're going to sacrifice Rowan Morrison, the little girl. And so he's sticking around. He's dressed up in one of the costumes. They're all dressed up in these crazy costumes. I mean, it is pretty cool, this aspect. I mean, they all have these masks on, like, and they're very like detailed masks of like, and like costumes of different European figures and different animals, and it's just crazy. I mean, it looks nuts. They're all like wearing these costumes and they're doing these crazy dances. It's wild. And basically he believes that they're going to sacrifice her, and there's good reason to believe so. And it turns out they led him on to believe that. They have the girl there, and she pops out and she's like, help me, help me. And then he's like, oh shoot. So he grabs her and starts running away with her, and then it turns out she's working with them, and they're all working together as a community. The disappearance was fake, and it's all to trap him there, because they believe that this police officer, it was all a setup the whole time. They knew that this exact police officer, Scottish police officer, was to come to their isle, their Scottish isle, and he was to be the perfect sacrifice, because he's a very respected Christian with strong moral values, and everything was a test. I mean, the whole ritual of trying to seduce him, that was a test, and they found that since he passed the test, he's a pure sacrifice, and especially because he's a Christian. I mean, this is crazy. It turns into a Christian persecution film. That's what it turns into, because they're sacrificing him because he's a Christian. He's an extreme Christian with these traditional values. He's willing to die for his faith, and he believes in it. So it's like you're getting transported, it really is, into a society 1500 years ago or 2000 years ago in Scotland, where people are worshiping pagan gods, and they are sacrificing people. They're sacrificing specifically Christians. So basically they put like dots on him and clean him like in a sacrificial way, and the whole time he is saying, I rebuke you in the name of God, in the name of Jesus. He's calling out to Jesus for help. He's telling them, you don't have to do this, you're doing murder, that's against God. Basically they have this 50, 60 foot, whatever it is, gigantic wood man statue, and in it, like in the shoulder and the biceps and the chest and the head, they have different animals. They have like goats and chickens and things in there, and they throw him right in the stomach of it. And they stand all around it, and they start chanting and singing these like pagan songs, and they're all happy. They actually are happy. They're not doing it in a hateful way. They're doing it because that's their belief. So they're all happy. They're all singing these weird songs and chanting like this. Oh, da, 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 da. It's crazy. I mean, it's absolutely wild. And he's in there and he's singing the Lord's Prayer. He's calling out to Jesus for forgiveness of all of his past sins, that he will be accepted into heaven. And it is a truly intense ending of the film, and it's brilliant. And I also want to say before I end the video that the editing of this film is amazing. The cinematography, and I talk about the cinematography on a lot of these videos. I love movies with great cinematography, and The Wicker Man 1974 is a great film. It's a very unique horror film. It's not like other horror films. It has a different feel to it altogether, and highly recommend. Cannot recommend the film more. I would rate it. I've been giving out a lot of 10 out of 10s. I think this one does deserve a 10 out of 10 rating. I've been reviewing 10 out of 10 films because I've been giving out 10 out of 10s because I truly believe it. I believe this is a great film. Anyway, The Wicker Man 1974, highly recommend. Great film. Interesting Scottish movie. Good, amazing Scottish movie. This is a great Scottish movie. The conflict of Celtic Christianity and ancient pagan Scottish folk religion. It shows both of them in very, I would say, accurate ways, and it shows the conflict between the two, and it shows the this was made in the 70s, so the 20th century, how that conflict is in the modern world. Great film. Highly recommend. Thank you for watching.